Hi there, I'm Dakota Karper. Today's class is Intro to Banjo 101. Hi there. Now that we've learned to do our bum-diddy rhythm with our right hand, we're going to give our left hand a little bit of work as well. And we're going to learn how to play the 3 major chords in the key of G. First of all, I am tuned to the key of G, so that means that my strings are G, D, G, B, and D. The first chord that we're going to learn, called the 1 chord, is our G chord. And this one is super friendly in this tuning because all of the strings are tuned in such a way that when played together, they create the G chord. So we can practice doing our bum-diddy rhythm, but this time with a little brush stroke. So to do the brush stroke, we're going to be using our lead finger, whether it's your index or your middle. And instead of hitting just one string, we're going to be brushing them over the first 4 strings, like so. And I kind of showed that incorrectly. Make sure you don't flip your finger out this way, but that your hand is moving with that as you strike across the strings. So that's our 1 chord. We're just going to hit the open strings, and you can practice bum-diddy with that. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and bum-diddy, bum-diddy. That is the 1 chord. It is the most used chord in the key of G. Next up, we have our 5 chord. The 5 chord in the key of G is the D chord. So we're going to be using 2 fingers for this. You can either use your index and your middle or your middle and your third. And that's going to be affected. Sometimes you'll play it both ways, depending on what chord you're going to afterwards or what the melody is. So it can either be played this way with these 2 fingers or this way with these 2 fingers. Either way, the placement is going to be with one of those fingers on the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. 1st string, 2nd string. So I found my 2nd string, 1, 2, 3, and I place my finger there. Then I need to have a finger on the 2nd fret, 1, 2, here's the 2nd fret, of the 3rd string. Here's my 3rd string, 1, 2, 3. So I'm placing my finger there, and that one there. This now is my D chord. And I can practice that bum-diddy rhythm there. And then, this one's a little bit harder, our 4 chord. This is going to be a C chord. So far we've had the 1 chord that needs no fingers, the 5 chord that needs 2 fingers. Now the C chord we're going to use 3 fingers for. I've chosen to use my 2nd and 3rd finger in the 5 chord because they're going to easily transition now to the 4 chord, the C chord. I'm going to take my middle finger, leaving it on the 2nd fret here, but moving it to the outside string, that fourth string. Then my 3rd finger, it's also going to come into that slot of being in the 2nd fret, but it's going to move to the outside string. So now it's on string 1. So I'm on the 2nd fret with both fingers on string 1 and string 4. That's 2 fingers. The 3rd one is going to be my index finger here. I'm going to take it and place it on the 1st fret. This whole bar here is the 1st fret. The 1st fret on the 2nd string. And then when I put those all together, it gives me a lovely C chord. And I can practice that. And then once you start to feel comfortable with having made that chord, start practicing going between the 1 chord and the 4 chord, or the 1 chord and the 5 chord. So that way you're going from an open chord to then you have to think about, where are my fingers going? 4 chord. Then go back to the open, then try the 5 chord. That way, each time as you're transitioning, you're going back to an open shape. So you can do that for as long as you want until you feel comfortable. And then once you do feel like you have those chord changes down really well, try switching between the 4 chord and the 5 chord. There's only a little bit of motion happening there. Bringing the middle and the ring finger to the outside, placing your first finger, and then bringing them to the inside and letting your first finger off. Now I'm just going to go through and practice changing chords for a little while, and I'll shout them out as we're going. So here we go. We're going to start with the 1 chord, then we're going to go to the 4 chord. Then we're going to go to the 5 chord, which is this one, and then the 4 chord. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, back to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Back to 1, 1. We're going back to 5. Here we go. 5. And that 5 is the D chord. We're going to go back to 1, which is the G chord. That's our G chord. Now we're going to go to the 4 chord, which is the C chord. Nice. C. 4th chord in the key of G. Back to 1. The G chord, our 1 chord. Now up to the 5 chord, the D chord. Now here it's going to be tricky. We're going to go from the 5 chord to the 4 chord, to the C chord. And now. Woohoo! You all are doing great there. Alright, we're going to go back from the C chord to the D chord, so another closed chord. C, and now D. Yeah! And then we're going to end by going back to our 1 chord, the G chord. And now you've learned to play the 3 major chords in the key of G. Hi there, I'm Dakota Karper. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn a little bit about Clawhammer Banjo. I hope you come back again. There's lots of good things ahead. If you enjoyed this video, please follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my Patreon account, or find out more about what I do at dakotakarper.com or my folk music school called The Cat and the Fiddle. That's www.thecatandthefiddlewv.com. See you next time.